it's supposed to be a coffee with Boothby Graffoe. Graffoe.
Yeah.
Lovely. I should have learnt that.
Boothby's fine.
Boothby and Pynn. So thanks very much for coming, and
Pleasure.
hopefully the coffees will arrive in a minute. So you arrived like 5 minutes ago, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're ready to
Ready to rock.
ready to rock it, ready to hit it on the rondo. Have you been to the rondo before?
Yeah, we were there last year, weren't we? Yeah.
Okay, because it's quite an intimate little gig.
It's Bath's most daring theatre, isn't it?
Oh, the Darling.
Darling, was it Darling?
No, it's Daring.
Bath's most daring theatre.
Is there competition for that?
I don't know, he was reading it on the internet today.
Yeah.
I daren't say it.
It has.
So you are now. Are you a comedian or are you a musician? What's your label?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
It's hard to say, but here's my coffee.
Got it.
Look, yeah.
Because his eyes light up.
Hi there.
Do you know which one's tea and which one's coffee? That one's coffee.
That one's tea. Are you having tea?
I'm having tea.
I'm burning myself.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks ever so much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks very much.
No, thank you. Not for me.
No thanks for me.
No.
You're all good. It's all right now. The name's true.
Lovely. Coffee and yeah.
So are you a comedian, or are you trying to shake that off?
Do you know? I don't know. I think I'm just trying to make enough money not to have to do anything else ever again as long as I live.
Okay, no, that's a good ambition. Yeah.
I'm going to be fine.
Right. Well, good stuff. I'm glad to see it. I wrote some notes for this actually.
Did you?
And one sort of materialised. How did you get to be such an amazing musician?
Well, no, interesting question.
Well, I think it is.
That's for him, not for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Nick is an amazing musician.
He is, yes.
We all know that. Are you intimidated by him?
Yes, deeply.
I mean, I would be.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
so how
deeply.
I'm intimidated by his comic timing.
That's yeah. So you should.
He's starting to fight now.
Yeah, I know.
I know. What have you done?
That's. I think that's Liverpool just scored.
Good. I guess.
football.
Are you into football?
You can't avoid it, can you?
Well, it's around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try and do it.
It's live versus new, according to the television screen.
So, Nick, you taught yourself the fiddle and the guitar and everything. Ever had a lesson?
I think 3 Blind Mice at school or something. Can't really remember. It's really when I got a lot older, and I feigned strange attacks and fits to get off school. And then when my parents went out to work and stuff, I then had this mandolin that I taught myself to play, and guitar. So it's really as a way to skive off school. And then I just found out I really enjoyed doing it a lot. And I just then sort of listened a lot to other musicians, and just played with bands and various different things. And by the time I played with about 78 different bands, I then found myself in the world of comedy, working with comedians, the likes of Boothby.
Yes, what you actually, just to qualify, you blinded 3 mice at school. That's one of the reasons they didn't want you back.
I blonded them.
You blinded them.
Do you talk about that much, or is it sort of...
The mice? No, we don't talk about the mice.
Yeah. It sort of goes unsaid.
Yeah.
So how far was it that you started working with, comedians and
Edinburgh 2001. I went up there to play music for poems written by Holocaust survivors, and then walked straight into a gig with Rich Hall straight after that, which was quite a big jump from tragedy into comedy. And then with Rich, I think through playing with Rich, I met Boothby, and then
And there's Stuart Lee.
Stuart Lee
as well.
Yeah,
indeed. Yeah. So you're doing many just like when you can fit it in with Stuart. Or...
I think what it is, it's just occasionally whenever there's a slot for me in something that someone's doing, it's great. I mean, with Boothby, because it's all, it's comedy and music and everything, so there's songs which it kind of works very well for me to be able to put my my bits in there, you know, see what actually works. So it's much more of a kind of, rather than playing, I mean, which was absolutely great fun, appearing for a minute at the end of Stuart Lee's shows as part of the punchline, you know, to get a couple of 45-minute slots to kind of enjoy the gig. Yeah,
you've got more to play with. Yeah. But I mean, is he a second choice to Omid Jalili? Is that?
Well, also Omid Jalili as well, wasn't it? You played with him as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I did do on the other week.
Yeah. Okay. But not so much of a regular.
No. That was the introduction. Boothby.
But did you want to perform with Omid? Did you want to have a talk with him?
Me? Oh yeah. Money in the Bank one.
One day still?
No pressure gigs. They were 25-minute warm up. Lovely.
Yes. Yeah. So how did you? Because warm ups are an odd gig. Did you face sort of resistance because people want to see Omid, or were they quite nice?
But it doesn't matter. That's the joy of warming up. Is if you're any good, then that's all right, and if you're rubbish, that's all right as well. You don't have to be. There's no pressure. But what you get is you get all the posh hotels and the travelling for no pressure.
You don't have to worry so much. But now the pressure's on because it's you and you're the star of the show. Are you?
Nah, he's the star of the show. I'm just the.
But that's only because the pressure's really off. I can just sit there. It doesn't matter if I'm any good or bad or anything. He can take all that. Take all the flack. Take all the Roberta.
It's it's very good fun doing what we do. I think that's the main thing. It's just good fun.
So you're doing a tour of your current album, which is called
Bang, Is This Your Vehicle, Sir?
And that was from a Malcolm Hardy.
It's from a Malcolm Hardy story, yes. Which I'm not going to tell you.
You have to come to the gig.
Yeah, you coming to the gig tonight?
I don't think we are. We've got to get the train back.
Yeah, Jesus.
But the thing,
Where to?
Well, we live in Bristol,
right.
And then the train here, we got the train to the wrong station, and so we had to
Walk
run
quite a long way.
Yeah, but it was all right, you know. And it was worth it for the coffee and for you guys. Yeah.
There's no cake.
No cake. That was a problem.
This
there was a worry about it.
Kind of looks like a cake, but it isn't. It's just.
Two of the words are in. Three of the letters are in there. Aren't they?
Yeah, it's candy. Candy. Candy's in there. Well, no.
Are you okay?
Oh, bless her. She'll be fine.
So do you mind the label comedy magician? Magician. That would be a good. That would be a new one.
That's funny then. I worked with Pete Best once, and I was really excited to meet him because he, on his poster, it said he was the Young Musician of the Year.
Drummer of the Beatles.
Yeah, well, no, not the drummer. No, but he just came on and did a lot of stupid magic stuff. And I said to him, do you play guitar at all? He did play a little bit of guitar, and he was very good. And I said, but why don't you do more music? Because you're the Young Musician of the Year, 1986 or whatever. It was Young Magician of the Year he was.
He was Young Magician.
Not Young Musician. But he was still a better guitarist than me. But I don't mind any label. Labels are good.
Yeah, you like them?
Yeah, we like, hearts and minds.
But have you dabbled in magic?
Me, never.
No?
No.
Not a fan? Do you like... Because there's
I love magic, yeah.
Do?
Yeah, I like to watch the tricks. I'm just not interested in doing it. It's too much hard work.
Long distance magic, I think, is a good one, isn't it?
Long distance magic.
Yeah, rather than the close-up stuff.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
So these days. I like a long
80 yards away.
Yeah, I can do some of that actually, quite well.
Well,
you could accompany it with fiddle playing and guitar playing.
Oh, I did. I got one here. I did when I was a long time ago when I was bored. I taught myself how to do that. I can't do it. It's not a playing card, but I did teach myself how to do that for a while. It's a bit too big.
That's good with my glasses off because that is like
does it
magic.
does
I
it
can't
work?
see how
Does
you
it
did
work
it.
for you?
I can't see what you did.
It's supposed to be like it's supposed to appear from nowhere. That's the thing. You get it between your fingers, and it's not there, and then suddenly it is.
Brilliant.
That is quite good, actually.
And the idea was that you have it there, and then you hang on. It's that way, isn't it? So you turn it round. You do that very quickly. It appears. But it's a bit big. This is a bit big. because it holds £250,000.
Well, you've got to be careful with that. We don't want to lose it.
I'm never going to open it.
If you offer me a scratch, I'll see. I might have a lucky one.
Well, you have to pay for the scratch, though. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, but that's just like you and you scuppering our lottery plans in the Highlands.
No.
Tell me.
Tell him.
What happened?
You tell him.
Well, I just had a bright idea. I thought at the time we were just driving long distances around the Scottish Highlands, and I found a way of killing a bit of time, which came up with resulted in some numbers for doing the lottery.
Which we didn't win.
We didn't win. I counted 1,378 white stripes at the side of the lane, the slow lane between the two junctions.
Do you know how long it takes to count up to 1,378?
Well,
a long time, I'm guessing.
You weren't helping though, were you? You kept interrupting. I had to do it.
You were doing it in fives.
But we got there and we talked about, splitting the money, how we'd do it and everything. I was quite generous. I thought, about doing a kind of like 50-50 split. So we did all the Wednesday and Saturday lotteries, didn't we?
Yeah, we won two things, didn't we? Cock and ball. We won nothing, dude. Nothing.
Well, yeah, the stats on that are something crazy, aren't they?
14 million to 1.
14 million to 1. You're more likely to get. Well, I remember.
But it takes faith and belief, you see. He didn't actually believe.
Well, what makes me laugh is that it's every time they set off a nuclear weapon, there's a 1,000,000 to 1 chance that it will react with all the nitrogen in the air, leaving just the oxygen. So the Earth will be an oxygen ball, which the first spark will obviously explode the entire planet.
Yeah.
That's a 1,000,000 to 1 chance every time they set off a nuclear device.
Yeah.
And it's 14 million to 1 that somebody might win the lottery. And it happens most weeks, doesn't it?
Well, it does, yeah. Which is a scary. It's a scary thought.
It is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I remember Paul Daniels, going back to the Magic, he said you should never buy a lottery ticket on the Friday because you're going to... Is it the Friday? Because you're going to drop dead before
You've got more chance of dying before the draw, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
So don't gamble.
But there's also a Martin Coyote routine, which is
Statistic.
based on the 14 million to 1 shot that people gamble on it. But if you were a gambler, how could you gamble on it? Because if you were to go into a booking office and put money on a horse, you would never actually put any money on a 14 million to 1 horse, would you?
No, not at all.
I mean, you're hard pressed to find people to put it on a 100 to 1 horse. It's a 14 million to 1 horse. It's only got one leg. Well, but I still do it. I still do the lottery.
Yeah. So you do the lottery every week? Do you?
Every week, yeah, I have to because I've got numbers that I remember.
Ah, right. No, I've got friends who have a set of numbers, set of birthdays that they always do, and then another one that they do all the choices. You waste a fortune though, don't you?
Well, yeah, I know. But I don't know how much I've spent on the lottery, but I have won a little bit here and there.
Okay. But the thrill's worth it, is it?
Thrill.
The thrill of it?
Yeah, the thrill of the disappointment every week. Yeah.
or the chance that it might not be a disappointment.
Well, there was a song once that went, I've never won the lottery, but I'm not really surprised because I've never bought a ticket. So if I tried to collect it, they probably wouldn't give me the prize. What I do is have a wooden board on which 6 numbers are engraved, and every week when I watch the telly and they don't come up, that's another £1 I've saved. I've been saving up for weeks now. When I'm rich, I'll cut and run and buy a television studio and make some adverts just for fun. And the first one that I broadcast, I'll be dressed up as a frock, holding a sign up to the camera that reads, "Camelot can suck my cock." But Camelot don't run the lottery anymore, do they?
Which is probably why I don't hear this poem much now.
No, you don't hear it much.
That's very good though. Do you remember lots of poems like that?
Well, only the ones I've written.
Right, yeah.
And half the time I don't remember those.
Even for the show.
Yeah, I admit I forget my words all the time.
But that makes it honest, doesn't it?
Well, honest or shambolic.
But shambolic is good now, isn't it?
Is it?
That's the new style. That's the new
shambolic or lazy, isn't it? It's lazy.
Well, it is laziness, but then some people maybe go out to be explicitly shambolic.
Well, yes, but it's based upon things like Alan Davies and Eddie Izzard and Robin Williams and Ross Noble.
Yeah.
Who appear to be free-forming genius, but work very, very, very hard. And do a lot of research and study and writing before they freeform this genius. And I think what's happened is people watch Eddie and think, well, he's just making it up as he goes along. No, he bloody isn't.
Yeah. But
he's given it a vast amount of thought. That's why it comes across so well.
No, totally. But then there are differences if you saw him one night to another night.
Oh yeah. He does improvise an awful lot. But what I'm saying is, it's not. It's the outcome of many years of work and preparation.
And you have to have that. You have to.
Well, yeah, but I do see some people sometimes, and I think, well, you are actually just trying to make this up as you go along. And the thing is, the only person I've ever really seen that do that successfully is Phil Kay. But you had to catch Phil Kay on a good night, because some nights, it just would be barking nonsense.
Well, I think that's a problem, because you've got to have a level of consistency, haven't you? And if you haven't.
But there is a sort of some comedians now who are just looking at Eddie and people like that and thinking, oh, I can do that.
Just trying to replicate it.
And the truth of it is, no, you can't. You have to do the work.
Yeah, but ironically, you don't actually get that many McIntyre people trying to be him.
No, strangely.
Strangely,
no. But Michael McIntyre's another one. He worked very hard, Michael McIntyre.
God, and I get so much flack, and I think...
Well, that's jealousy.
Yeah, it is, and it's what it is, isn't it? It's not supposed to be anything else.
No, he's never claimed it. He's never claimed to be never claimed to be a major force in political change, has he? And he is about as a major force in political change as Mark Thomas is, if you think about it, because, the changes that are effected are reasonably small.
Maybe it's personal though. Maybe somebody goes there and maybe it changes their thinking maybe a little bit, or they become a bit more informed.
Do you think so?
Maybe. I don't think it's for change necessarily.
No, maybe not.
But then it's strange that I think...
I didn't mean it, Mark. I wasn't having a go.
But then it's strange that the Tories haven't had hardly any impact on comedy now. I don't think.
No, do you think not? No, probably not. Well, they didn't have before, you see. The only impact they had was how would you say it? I don't know. As a reaction. It was a massive reaction to it. But the actual people that you look at who came out of the Thatcher era rapidly became extremely wealthy men and women.
Yeah.
And although they were born into a world which had a left-wing leaning, supposedly, of alternative comedy, the truth of it is they were just, clowns the same as everybody else. And at the end of it, they became the establishment, didn't they?
True.
You just had people like Ben Elton attacking people like Benny Hill, and the groundswell of public opinion saying that to pretend to be a foreign person who can't speak English properly, as Benny Hill often did, you Bury area, was wrong and racist. And if you pretend to be a foreign person who can't speak English properly, you're a racist, and that's wrong. And they took Benny Hill, one of the country's most successful comedians ever, he was taken off the television because he was considered racist because he pretended to be a foreign person who couldn't speak English properly. And he was replaced by Harry Enfield's Stavros character, which bizarrely was an English person pretending to be a foreign person who couldn't speak English properly. Then Jim Davidson, who I'm not, a fan of particularly, but he was decried for pretending to be a stupid black person, and that was considered racist and not allowed. And they took him off the television, and he was replaced by Ali G, who is a young Jewish man who pretends to be a stupid black person. And it just seems to be that the very reason why something is wrong is the very reason why it's brilliant and funny.
Yeah.
It didn't really make much sense to me.
But is there a bit of intent behind there? Would you say?
Yeah, the intent is to get laughs and make lots of money.
I mean, the intent is to get laughs, but would you say that from Jim Davidson it's coming from the wrong place? And
well, I didn't think I thought all Benny Hill was ever trying to do was make people laugh. That's all he was ever trying to do, and get blowjobs off Hill's Angels, which he did very successfully. That's all he was interested in. And I don't really think there was any deep political meaning behind Stavros.
Hello, peeps. I can't speak English properly. What's that about?
That was, and even if there was a deep, meaningful political belief and intent behind what Ben Elton said, he was just still trying to get laughs. He didn't actually achieve anything apart from a vast amount of success
and now it's been totally through his recent action. Any political stance that he maybe had is
what's he done
out the
now?
window, surely. Well, the whole debate about him.
What's he done?
Is him writing a song with Queen and that.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, of course.
You know.
It's not the Queen though. It's the rock band.
No, that's true. That's true.
But that's it. It's just entertainment. There's no depth to it because it's not actually. They're not actually turning anything down. I mean, Ben Elton, bless him, never did an advert. You've got to say that.
No.
But the original major promoter at the time was called Stage Left Productions. They were called Stage Left Productions. I think they came somewhere out of Red Wedge. There was a real political belt to it. But the truth of it is they're now Off the Curb Productions. They were just a very large, very wealthy, very powerful conglomerate of people who just were always in it for the money.
Yeah.
Which I don't decry that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's why everybody does everything, isn't it, to make a success of it. It's just that they hang it off the back of some sort of political intent, which was never really there. And Thatcher was a godsend to people who wanted to appear to be anti-establishment, because she defined an establishment that was very easy to lash back against. And it's more difficult now with Cameron because Tony Blair was little more than the acceptable face of conservatism. Tony Blair's government privatised the railways, started the privatisation of the transport system in London, paved the way for the slow privatisation of the National Health Service. He took the country to war. He might as well have been a Tory.
No, yeah, it's strange. You can see Tony Blair, and you can just put him in that camp.
Yeah, and what he did was he gave Britain a chance to embrace socialism because it wasn't socialism. It was capitalism.
Yes.
But he allowed people to go against Thatcher and go against all those apparently greedy actions of that time. But in actual fact, his policies were across the board Tory, really. And they privatised the railways. It was a Labour government. They privatised.
It's New Labour, though.
Exactly. New Labour. What do you mean Tory?
Yeah, privatisation's in again.
Yeah.
But totally from the business perspective, it's been Tory. Perhaps from a personal perspective, in terms of being more embracing of minorities and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're
in a different place.
But it's not. That's the thing. From a race point of view,
Come on, you bastards! Come on!
It's the poor people that are racist, not the rich people, isn't it? The poor people are racist because they're bothered about the colour of the people who might be getting the job that they want. The rich people don't give a toss what colour you are, provided that you're working for them. They don't care. They just care how much you're charging, if anything. So I don't know. It's all. That's the thing. I never know how people do it. I don't know how left-wing people manage to hold on to this, especially if they're performing publicly. How hold on to this ideal that they put across without realising that the whole situation they're in is the antithesis of what they believe in.
Yeah, it's interesting how people deal with that, but I think that's the thing. It's got to, as you experience things in life, things happen that you suddenly find yourself in a place where, as you say, the ideal that you start off with can be very counter to just people you're with or the situation that you're in.
It is,
and the very fact, I mean, the whole thing about it's like Billy Connolly says about, if you're a politician in the first place, well, God, you shouldn't be doing anything in that position, in the position of a politician.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be about 10 years, I think, before we see Eddie in the political stream.
Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie is on. He's heading for politics.
Is he?
Yeah. He's grooming himself now for politics.
Oh, didn't he want to be in Europe? Or?
I think he might be heading for mayor. I'm not sure. I think it's quite public knowledge what he's doing. I think Mayor Whitebury might go for a political seat. But the thing about him is, if he's made a plan, he will do it.
He's like that.
Yeah. So we'll look forward to seeing him in some sort of political position within about the next decade.
I think it's good, like what you were saying earlier, he put so much research in and he's so well informed that he's totally entitled to that. I think it's
he's done his acting in about 8 different languages or something. He learned them. He learned the languages to do the act. Yeah.
So it's not influenced you at all, the Tories coming into government, or was that?
Well, I don't. Labour, Tory, they're all scum.
Right. So it's a hatred of all.
It's not a hatred, it's just despair, really, because I cannot see anything but self-seeking, self-serving people. There are one or two, there's the odd one, But even the odd one that you admire and think, wow, you know, you have achieved a lot. But still they go back to their mansions and they live a life of Riley. And they might bleat and worry and say wonderful things about what's going on. But in actuality, with the exception of, say, Jimmy Savile, you're talking about some very wealthy people. See, politics, there's no poor people in politics. This is the whole thing with Barack Obama. It's like, it's not a black man in power. It's a rich man in power. You don't get poor people in power.
Yeah.
Because it's so expensive to run for government. They've made it prohibitively expensive so that anybody, unless you have backing of huge amounts of money, you're not in power. And I think when you get in a situation where David Cameron openly has clearly charged £250,000 to have dinner with him to influence government policy, and the day after the revelation is still in a position of power, talking about holding an internal inquiry within his own party to sort this out, we're left thinking, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, we're playing a game with money.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
You just admit, your chair treasurer has just admitted, you've just seen him selling your time to a foreign company. And that's, well, okay, that's naughty, but you're still in power? It's like, oh, that's a bit naughty, we'll sort that out. It's a bit naughty, that's fundamentally against the whole principles of what you're supposed to stand for. And you're still in power the next day? Surely it should have been, they should have been out.
Yeah.
If there is anything. But then, like, when you get Tony Blair in, and he was no different, was he? He was no different. He's made more money in the years since he's stopped being Prime Minister than any other previous Prime Minister had made, all put together. He's made more money.
Yeah.
Millions. And Gordon Brown, bless him, has made, what, 3 million or something, and he's given it all to charity. And I think he's doing it to piss Tony Blair off.
Do you think so?
We got the wrong guy, you see, that was the thing about Gordon Brown. He was the right guy.
Gordon Brown was... it just annoys me that they say that he had no charisma. That you just think, if we're even thinking about that.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point? What's the point of charisma?
Exactly.
I want someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, no.
This is the whole thing with Boris Johnson and the London mayor. You had Ken Livingstone, say what you like about him, he'd run it before, he probably knew what he was doing. You had Paddock, the police commissioner, who'd run a police force, so he probably knew what he was doing. You had Boris Johnson, who they'd seen on the telly. Who won? Boris Johnson. George Galloway. And then they were decrying the fact that, they were saying, it's nothing to do. He was on the telly on Big Brother. That's how he got in.
Yeah,
that's why, because
totally.
people have seen him on the
No one
telly.
knew him before. Yeah. And
so they voted for the one that they've seen on the telly.
I remember when Boris Johnson got into power, and I saw this interview with Josie Long, and she'd been away or something. Apparently she just went back and did these routines with, like, just what the fuck, just... What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just open your eyes.
Because they'd seen him on the telly.
Yeah.
He'd been on Have I Got News For You.
This morning, somewhere where we were staying last night, the hotel, I was being told about, apparently this guy got a message through, text message saying about, actually today is supposed to be, April Fool's Day, but apparently it's not because it's Palm Sunday. And I was kind of interested in looking up Wikipedia and what, if that's true, what it actually means. Because I think also because I'm I consider myself kind of a-religious. However, I suppose Catholicism, growing up with Catholicism, may be very anti-religious. But I'm not an atheist, but not religious. But the thing is that it's quite an interesting thing a bishop had said about this particular thing about it being, because there's a lot of debate. People saying about, it's the Festival of Fools, whatever, it's a pagan thing, and it gets in the way of the religious, the Christian celebration of Palm Sunday. But this particular cleric, I think bishop, was actually saying an interesting thing. 2 words that come to mind over a lot of things that he was saying about this was the pretext of Palm Sunday was out of something quite foolish and that turned against Christ anyway. But he was saying that words that come to mind are words and enthusiasm. People love words and they love enthusiasm. If you've got words and enthusiasm, you kind of win over people without it being debated or questioned. And I thought it was a very interesting little article. I can't remember the name of the person who did it, but that seems to be a very wise kind of overview, really. And I think I feel the same about political things and the way people want to kind of, again, we'll get fooled again and again and again because of people's charisma and all the words that they use. And I just sit back and I do wonder why intelligent people seem to fall for it every time.
Words, enthusiasm, and advertising. So lots of people have words of enthusiasm, but the ones that actually get on the telly more than the other ones are the ones that come through.
Yeah.
That's what sticks in people. I mean, George Galloway. I mean, his appearance on Big Brother was a fiasco. It was horrifying. He was pretending to be a cat with Rula Lenska. It was embarrassment. But people don't remember that. They just remember that they've seen him on the television. It's like Coca-Cola, Heinz Big Beans. You see it over and over and over again. It sticks, and you don't remember why.
No.
It's like a total lack of focus community.
It just goes in.
Yeah, that people aren't even thinking about the issues. Like if something happens, something big happens, the lack of acknowledgement that it has happened.
Yeah.
Would you
I think we're very brainwashable, we're very fallible, and I just think that.
Will you excuse me? Yes. Very important. I have to take this. Do you mind? I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
Keep talking.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just find. I think this is what I like about. The arts, really, in a way that, and also being involved in things where actually, I suppose really that kind of, I suppose one could say everything is political, but I always see the creation of music or the creation of whatever that I'm involved, that I've been fortunate to be involved in. I think has been something outside of anyone trying to come up with answers for anybody. And I just think the actual experience, something that actually replicates the highs and lows of experience is all that can really be done. Right?
Yeah. So with your work, are you kind of trying to create an experience really for people? Is that kind of what you see your role as? Just a
I think so, and trying to represent a personal ideal. I think my own music is like that, and what I try to give to other people's songs or whatever is just something from my own little vision of something being maybe perfect, which never will be. Certainly won't be from my music, but it's something that I don't know. But a belief, I suppose. It's a belief system.
But you keep that kind of perfection thing in mind. You're always working towards that.
Yeah. I never practiced. That would be a good idea. But in terms of a vision, that's something kind of represents, and I think that's quite and never. It's never there. It's always over there. Then you're there, and that human thing in you. Instead of running after it over there further.
And that was my annoyance at the government currently. There was the lack of funding going towards arts things.
Yeah.
And it was just a total. It doesn't have any value.
And David Cameron's thing about mainstream cinema, about and I think about some of the great films I've seen this year. The Artist, what was the other one? Oh God, what was the one I saw the other day? There was Hugo. There's another one recently. It will come back to me. But there's another one that obviously didn't start off knowing it was going to be a mainstream film.
Yeah.
But the whole idea about implementing some kind of manifesto about what constitutes a film that should be made.
It needs to. The focus needs to be on making the money, whereas. Yeah. Those films don't need the funding from the government. It's the government's
No.
to...
That's right. They don't need the funding. But this is the whole thing about the value of culture, the value of, and also, people do talk to me about a lot of things. I have never seen X Factor. I don't have an interest in it. I don't know. I'm not that anti. I'm curious, but I don't even watch telly. So I don't really know about those things. But every now and again, I hear about fantastic pieces of music or artists that I listen to, and I just find something very genuine in what they're doing. And this is what I love about Stuart Lee's recommendations for things. He's been a good pal for, in a way, not to any action of my own, but just sort of putting my music forward to people. And then I sort of look at the stuff that he likes, and I think there's a real. That's the thing, it's been open to things and actually getting things. But as Boothby was saying about advertising, words and enthusiasm is enough. It's the advertising, or what's presented in front of people. And that's what I suppose it's like, people in power. If I was to be in any position of any kind of power, like a Jules Holland character, a TV programme or something, be able to get people in who I really believe in.
That's the thing, yeah.
And that's what I think. There's a lot of that in Edinburgh as well. In the festival, in the Fringe, I've seen a lot of things where, and I've been helped by it as well, and seeing people just making opportunities for people with a good, genuine heart.
the intentions are all good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. And if I shake your hand, and I'll pretend to shake Boothby's hand.
Yeah. Are you running out of hard drives? Mate?
He wants them to be shorter. They've been too long.
Yeah.
They've been too long.
Let's go on about ourselves at great length. I have no ego, but.
But thanks very much. That's great.
Thank you very much.
That's great.
Yeah.